There is nothing quite like the responsibility of being a parent. It is one of, if not the biggest changes you can experience in life. Caring for all of the physical and emotional needs as a child grows presents plenty of challenges. And for kids contending with trauma, well, it's even harder.
When Karen and Bob Ayotte of Salisbury adopted their son John, little did they know about the attachment and trauma issues he had. And had they understood what they do now, they could have prevented some painful experiences.
Which is why their new book is aiming to help prevent other children from experiencing those troubles. And we are with Karen and Bob Ayotte, the authors of Mommy, My Brain Hurts, Where is the Help? Welcome to DelmarvaLife. Thank you so much for being here. So what made you want to get involved in the foster care system?
Oh, okay, that's in the beginning of my book. We met, and he had never had children. I did raise a daughter, and we wanted to have children. So his family had been in foster care before, so he knew all about it. So that's when we got together and got married, we decided that we wanted to adopt.
So tell us about John. When did you realize that he was suffering from some traumatic problems?
Well, he came to us at 2.5. He was very hyper and active, which is normal for a 2-year-old boy. But as time went by, he started
displaying more anger.
Yeah.
Displaying more anger and agitation. Took very little to set him off. And at the same time, it also took very little to bring him back down. I mean, he would adjust almost on the fly, where he would be just super excited and happy one minute, and then terribly upset the next without even seeing a trigger for why it would have happened.
So you sought some help?
Yes. Before we even adopted him and he was still in foster care, I contacted social services and explained some of the things that he was displaying, and they got us in touch with a therapist who did diagnose him with reactive attachment disorder. But unfortunately, we didn't get to stay with this particular therapist, and that is another problem with this situation, is that they leave and you have to go and find another therapist and you have to start all over again. Well, after that, he kept being misdiagnosed as ADHD. And as time went on, we knew that it was more than ADHD. But to make a long story short, and with all the research and joining these online support groups that we have out there, I've learned that it's complex trauma, basically, is what it is.
So why did you want to write the book? I suppose to help others.
Yes.
Yeah, we wanted to shed some light on the fallacies of the whole system, where over and over again it was like, well, we understand what you think it is, but you have to go through this process first, and then you have to go through this process next, and then you have to go through this process. And all those processes we're doing were taking a lot of time that we're just chewing up what could have been his healing time. So instead of getting any kind of therapy going on, it was just, well, we're going to try this, and when that didn't work, we're going to move on to this thing.
Why do you think it's so difficult to find therapy for a trauma like this?
Big part of the problem is when you're dealing with the state has their own protocols, and their protocol basically wants to lump everybody as one particular category, whereas, as we all know, each of us are individuals, and therefore their personal situations are very unique to that child. And unfortunately, there's not a process in place where they can get diagnosed for it in the very early stages of entering into the foster care program, where they can even start therapy before an adoption takes place.
So where can we get a copy of the book?
Amazon.
Amazon?
Amazon.
Okay.
And it's called Mommy, My Brain Hurts, Where is the Help? Tell me about that. Is that something he said?
He made a comment one time.
Very,
And
very young.
that was one thing that we did determine in therapy, that it wasn't like a headache. It was like all these racing thoughts. Because you know, the mind of a child with trauma, it's very chaotic in there. And that's why they cannot succeed in public school. We cannot expect teachers to be able to handle children like our son when he was that age. And there are so many out there. And what we want to do is encourage other families to tell their stories, and please write to your representatives and your senators, because apparently they think that the need isn't here on the Eastern Shore, and we really do need a trauma facility or center on this side of the bridge, because it's not fair for families to have to travel 2 and 3 hours to get help for their child.
Right. Well, thank you for coming in, and thank you for this resource for other parents. Karen and Bob, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.